Statement of the project. The project was an installation work using objects chosen at random to help eliminate subjective limitations. The project was titled Kingdom of Chance 2 after an essay I wrote on art criticism in 1983 in Korea and an installation I created in 1985 at Gallery C, California State University, Long Beach. The project was based on philosophical concepts from the I Ching, the Book of Changes, and John Cage's artistic conceptions. Though I derived a chance-operated project from their concepts, my main concern was closer to a paradoxical concept of useful uselessness originated by Lao-Tzu. My intention was to leave an impression on the viewer's mind rather than create works of art with a market value. As an artist from Korea, I have experienced various forms of art in my work and in the works of others, both traditional and contemporary art from the East and the West. In contemporary directions, conceptual art has been of singular importance to me. During my MFA study, an installation titled Kingdom of Chance I was shown at Gallery C in 1985. The exhibition was an installation of objects I had moved from my studio, some of which were modified by me while others were lifting untouched. During the process of this installation, I made slides to record the event and document the work, as is the usual case when the art is of a nature and is dependent more on ideas rather than on the product. I was struck by the importance of slides since they are also used by artists to present their work to galleries, for competitions and publication as well as for reference purposes. Therefore, I decided to reverse this practice by using slides as artworks rather than recording the artworks by means of slides for the more usual archival purposes.
Into his work over the years, a form of composition called aleatoric music. But the method we'll be looking at today is his use of the I Ching, or Book of Changes.
A musical form that he calls chance operations. That's the random groupings of words, music, and everyday sounds. The result is what Cage fans call art and detractors call dribble. You judge for yourself with Marcus Jones.
There is a spray of bug repellent. There is in the audience a baby's cry, a sound response.
Probably the best thing you could say about John Cage is that he's a genius, an experimental musician without peer, a man who follows the beat of a different, if not peculiar genre.
Now, a performance of John Cage's 433. Please welcome our soloist, William Marks.
A historical review of chance operations. Random choice, as originated in the I Ching, was introduced to the contemporary world of art by John Cage. He applied random choice by deciding notes and rests from the toss of 3 pennies 6 times. This is known as the hexagram method. The 3 pennies are thrown down together 6 times, and each throw determines one line of the hexagram. To determine the hexagram by the toss of 3 pennies is an application of the I Ching. However, the dynamics of the hexagram are not as simple as John Cage applied in his music, because the symbol of the hexagram is not simply a design or pattern by which sometimes else is identified. Despite the fact that the I Ching is known to have the proven power of foretelling the future by using the hexagram method, the I Ching is not merely a book of fortune-telling. The I Ching as it exists today is a compendium of attempts by several generations of Chinese sages to discover the structure of the universe and its meaning for society and man. If it were not for the constant revision and commentary it has experienced in the hands of learned men, it would be little more than an encyclopedia of the sciences. Charles Ponce declared that the symbol, hexagram, is a product of psyche. On the other, it is the very thing that constantly shapes and directs the psyche. It is at one and the same time parent and child. From this point of view, I interpreted random choice as an attitude whereby an artist could pick up objects without confining oneself through an artistic selection process such as 3 coins deciding on a hexagram solely by chance. In that manner, the value of random choice would be achieved because the thing we threw away just because we judged it as non-artistic could be art. Useful uselessness was introduced to the art world by John Cage through McNaughton's translation of Lao-Tzu. However, John Cage's useful uselessness was an invented conception, quite different from the original meaning, as he incorporated silence with sound, and the uselessness, silence, became useful. When Lao-Tzu said 30 spokes unite in one nave, and because of the part where nothing exists, we have the use of a carriage wheel. Clay is molded into vessels, and because of space where nothing exists, we are able to use them as vessels. Doors and windows are cut out on the walls of a house, and because they are empty spaces, we are able to use them. Therefore, on the one hand, we have the benefit of existence, and on the other, we make use of non-existence. In Chu Ta Kao's translation of I Ching, Lao-Tzu referred to other aspects of facts of things, and of life, such as the other side of the moon. However, McNaughton's interpretation is different from the above translation of the I Ching. The 30 spokes join on the one hub, and their usefulness for the carriage is just where they aren't. You take a clay lump to make the dishes, and the clay's usefulness is just where it isn't. You cut the material into doors and windows to make a room, and its usefulness as a room is just where it isn't. So you take what of it there is to use what of it there isn't. Enlightened by this interpretation, John Cage applied useful uselessness to silence and noise in the music. However, Lao-Tzu's useful uselessness was different from McNaughton's interpretation. Considering Lao-Tzu's anecdote referred to an altar tree that was neglected by a master mechanic as a useless tree. When the master mechanic had come back, the altar tree appeared in his dream, saying, "Now I succeeded in being useless, which is of the greatest use to me. If I am useful, could I have become so great? Moreover, you and I are both things. How can one thing pass judgment upon another?" Obviously, uselessness is regarded to be the same as usefulness in this anecdote. What is more, Chung Tzu once said, "I would prefer to be in a position which is between the useful and useless." I interpret useful uselessness as a way of approaching art itself. That is, collecting objects which seemingly have nothing to do with art, to form and display them without artistic intention or imagination. This is my perception of real art. Whether the viewers appreciate the display as art or not, the display would leave an impression on the viewer's mind as useful uselessness. Methods and procedures. After being an artist for about 20 years, I began to question the importance of creating art objects. The ultimate consequence of an artist's creative act is to leave an impression on a viewer's mind, and this objective, as in theater, need not involve making relatively permanent objects. The process of making collages uses various found objects and materials. In a like manner, I began to pick up materials at random with the intention of using them in some way that conformed to the concept of chance and useful uselessness. In preparing the installation, I had 3 titles in mind: VCR Manual, Android, and Kentaurus. For VCR Manual, I chose a paper box, VCR tapes, and a copy of a movie script from a motion picture company where I worked. Then, I wrote down the script on the tapes using a metallic felt pen. After that, the tapes were put in the box. I took 40 slide photographs of a friend's hands forming 10 Arabic numbers from 0 to 9 to indicate an operation order, 10 slides of a manual that was written on the sand at Venice Beach, 10 visual interpretations of the manual, and 10 photographs of tapes which corresponded to each written manual. For Android, I took 24 photographs of car taillights while driving at night. The taillights symbolized the eyes of a robot. For Kentaurus, I took a photograph of a typewriter and 2 typed scrolls. The first scroll was titled America, the Land of Stop Signs. I typed whatever came to my mind in a diverse form with the aid of a memory typewriter, regardless of grammar or the context of the sentence. The second scroll was titled Code, Decode. To make a code, I typed Korean sentences on an English typewriter. The code was designed for those people viewing the exhibition because no one could decode it. The code, thus, remained as nothing but a visual fact. I planned to use 7 projectors in the presentation. 3 projectors were obtained by me, and 4 were supposed to be borrowed from the Audiovisual Center at the university. However, I found the Audiovisual Center was not open because my presentation was scheduled for February 24th, the day before school began. So, by means of installing chance operation, signs read, "This space is taken by projector A, this is taken by projector B, taken by projector C, and taken by D." Despite the availability of additional projectors after February 25th, I decided to leave the signs until the presentation was completed. Then, when the projectors were ready to be installed, I found the slide image was too small if projected from the center of the exhibition space as originally planned. Therefore, projectors were relocated at opposite corners of the walls to make larger projections. As a result, spectators' shadows and movements became part of the work. During the installation, chance altered the way in which projectors were used. For the 7 projectors, my plan was to use our for projecting VCR manual, Android, and intermission slides, the 5th projector for Kentaurus. To project a typewriter on a typed scroll. A 6th was to hang from the ceiling to create a searchlight effect, and a 7th for projecting different views of the spaces or of objects in the presentation site. Unfortunately, 2 of my projectors were broken during installation. Therefore, one projector was located in front of a hanging screen to signify a role change from a projector to an object to be projected. Another broken projector was located near one of the projectors as if it were an object to be displayed. There was another chance aspect to the installation which had to do with the projectors. For VCR manual, I planned for projectors to function simultaneously by timers. I had to run from one projector to another. In addition to that, one of the projectors repeatedly showed a specific slide owing to a mechanical problem. As a result, all the projectors showed slides out of sequence and there were no technical remedies available to me at the time. However, I found a human or mechanical error enhanced the effect based on the chance operation. In addition to those unplanned chance situations, I placed all the objects in the space spontaneously. Slide boxes, slide pages with or without slides, and even a servomotor coffee cup in the presentation to establish the kingdom of chance as determined by random choice and useful uselessness. Conclusions. Just as the hexagram method determines one line of the hexagram from the toss of 3 pennies 6 times, my installation was a result of multiple choice. The difference between the hexagram method and my installation in terms of chance is that during the installation I accepted all possible chances, while the hexagram method was limited as a result of the chance operation. For instance, I juxtaposed random slides along with slide projectors that contained chosen slides in the presentation room. Thus, all the slides had the same chance in the installation. Also, the slide pages might have been located in other ways, namely upside down, nearest to the projectors, and so forth. Another example of random choice, which would be connected to the concept of useful uselessness, was a coffee cup. The cup was accepted in the presentation just because I left it there in the presentation hall. To throw it away was one choice, to leave it there was another choice. In a traditional exhibition, a thing like a cup would be thrown away like a useless object for the exhibition. For me, the cup became an example of useful uselessness to show that I could accept unpredictable chance operations. Therefore, my plan for the installation had 2 aspects. to allow the chance to determine the objects included but also to create the most effective and unified impression in the given surroundings. My project had been developing over a long period of time as a design to provide more creative freedom in the operation of chance, both for the artist and the spectator. Therefore, it was my intention that viewers would freely organize their own impressions and meanings from the installation. Some of the slides, such as signs on the walls, were oriented verbally, and some were image-oriented, as in the case where numbers from the slides for the VCR manual were shaped by both hands. Therefore, unless the viewers recognized the numbers as numbers, the shapes remained as visual facts. During the presentation, I found additional possibilities of chance operation for future projects. For the Kingdom of Chance 2, I collected slides randomly regardless of their content. Among the slides were aerial photographs, landscapes, souvenir pictures of senior citizens, and various other subjects. For a subsequent show, the random collection of slides in the Kingdom of Chance 2 might be replaced by photographs taken daily at the exhibition, such as preparation, installation, signs posted in the gallery, visitors' shadows projected on the wall, and so on. Consequently, the number of photographs would increase day by day. In conclusion, a chance-operated project is an attempt to expand the possibilities of an art activity that includes non-artistic activities as useful uselessness. The Kingdom of Chance 2 provided a good reason for the Kingdom of Chance 3 to develop further in terms of chance. Although the future plan for the Kingdom of Chance 3 is established on the basis of Kingdom of Chance 2, one thing will never be changed. That is, I will accept all possible chance operations with an open mind.